Hello and welcome to the show today, ladies and gentlemen. My guest today is a fellow Machinima maker of the brilliant show, The Bob and Phil Show. Let's go to a clip now to show what it is.
So I made a list of what we should definitely bring on the trip. So far I have an extra gas tank and about $100 in cash in case
Oh,
of
you mean that
emergencies.
money that had the sign that said, emergency money, don't spend on it? Yeah, funny story. I kind of spent it.
What did you spend it on?
Bubblegum?
Okay, scratch that. Now we have only an extra gas tank.
Um,
What did you use the gas tank on, Phil?
I'd rather not explain.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, Smarty.
Hi.
With delayed reaction from the audience. Thank you for showing me up, audience. Thank you for coming on the show.
No problem.
So, right, the question on everyone's lips: what made you start Machinima? What's the big influence for you?
Well, the big influence I must say is red versus blue.
Woo!
I know it's a little cliche and stuff like that to say that, but I believe I came around to witnessing it. I believe it's the 4th season.
Earlier
Yeah,
than me. Definitely earlier than me.
I have all the DVDs and I still can't remember which, but basically I watched it was the Halo 2 Red vs. Blue. I believe it's season 4. I started watching that and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. How do they do this? And then I listened to ironically, someone did an interview with Bernie Burns, and he explained how he uses a capture card and what he edits with, and I'm like, I can do that. So I gave it a try, and
here you are
failed.
today. Failed.
Well, no, I failed the first time, but then, after trial and error, figured out what I was going to do.
And that eventually led on to the Bob and Phil show, did it?
Yeah. Well, hang on one second. Oh, never mind. Anyway, well, technically, yes. How that led on... I honestly took, a hiatus from Machinima for a while, and then when Halo 3 came out, I said, yeah, it's got this theater mode, I'll give it one more try. And I made a little short called Don't Die on Me, and it included the characters Bob and Phil. They were never meant to be, anything. They were just characters, and then... apparently I looked at the response and I realized, holy crap, I can do something with this.
And did it immediately just click then, I'll just put these two in situations and to see how they turn out and stuff?
Actually, well, ironically, no. At first I thought I was going to do just short films of random things, and then someone had mentioned, why don't you use those characters? Everyone seemed to like them, and I'm like, I kind of think that would work. So the first thing we tried was a second short. That didn't work out well. And I don't know how, I'm trying to exactly remember how I came up with the show, but I remember I was watching a popular YouTube series called The Alan and Craig Show. It's made by the guys who made a Dark Knight trailer parody, and I saw one episode of that and I'm like, why hasn't anybody done this in Machinima form? And I figured, I guess I should give it a shot.
And of course there's the third character as well, Brendan, who's highly popular.
Yes.
How did he get roped up into all this little fun?
Well, as I had mentioned, Brendan is a friend of mine. That's his actual name, Brendan. And we had met in a casting call for a long forgotten zombie movie thing. We were both characters in it. And as we hit it off right then, and this was back in 2000 and I'm gonna say 2006. We really didn't speak much till 2000 2008, 2009, and we would play Halo all the time. And then when I came up with the show, I was writing, and I said, all right, I need some filler for this episode. What could work? And then all of a sudden I remembered back from the casting call, Brendan would do all these weird things. Like he would do the hi thing from episode 1. He'd be like, hi! And then,
Right.
yeah, I remember that. I'm like, I have to work that into an episode somehow, some way. And when we originally did, he wasn't actually meant to be like a main character. He was meant to be just like a throwaway character. But then after seeing the response from episode 1, they're like, more Brendan, more Brendan, more Brendan. And I'm like, okay.
And as the show grew more and more popular, eventually you ended up on the Machinima channel.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I never expected to be on Machinima.com. Like, I believe we were up to episode 4, if I'm correct, when we hit Machinima.com. We, I figured, what was it? After the big Halo Community Live event that was going down, that was arranged by MCQ22, I think his name is. Sorry if I forget your name, dude, but yeah. Anyway, MCQ, he was setting up this Halo Community Live thing, and he liked my show, and he said, hey, Smarty, do you want to maybe make a short for that? And I said, I got nothing to do, so yeah. So I made the short, and after that, Sniper247... I'm forgetting names. Hang on one sec. Sniper2477, who does a Machinima.com original series called Marathon Man. He does a series called Freeman's Fear. He does very well. He's very well known in the Machinima community.
I've seen a few of his shows. He is very good at what he does in that show.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also he made a little skit called Halo 3 Porn, if anyone.
Oh, that was...
Yeah, he made that, and we started to like talk and stuff, and he's like, hey dude, you should totally send a letter to Machinima and see what they say. They might like your stuff. And that was back in the time when I was not like all that into Machinima.com, because I thought like they would kind of like, I don't really know what the words are, but they were a little shady at first. But then I sent them the letter. I'm like, why not? And I sent them this like well-written letter saying, can you check out my show? Just tell me what you think. And a couple of weeks later, I'm at my job. I decided to check my email, and it's a letter from Jeff McFarland, who said, hey, we want you to hop on board. And immediately I called up Brendan. I'm like, Brendan, we got picked up.
And of course, did he do like a big yay when you told him?
He was just like, shut the fuck up. And we were just, I was just like, yes! And I was freaking out. And it was probably the greatest day ever.